Okay, so hi everybody, I'm Sandra. Welcome to the last day of Paul's beautiful kindness Zoom day, retreat day. So thank you very much, Paul, for having me along to teach. So what we're going to do is simply spend an hour kind of resting. And so spend maybe 15 or so minutes just lying on the ground, just sensing into the body and doing a bit of movement. And then we'll get into a really comfortable shape for the Yoga Nidra, and you can choose whatever shape you like, and then we'll finish together. So you can choose to have your videos on or off. I actually don't mind if people turn the videos off for this, so that's a choice that you have. And then just finding a way to come to lying on your back, and you could have, you could just be completely lying on your back with the whole of your legs on the floor, or you may choose to have a bolster or a pillow under your knees. I always like to encourage people to have something under their necks, like a blanket. I'll just show you how I like this up here. So you might like to have a blanket or a kind of a hard pillow under your head. Perhaps you're in constructive rest, so your feet are on the floor and your knees are pointing towards the ceiling. Or you might be completely, your feet may be like lying down in a starfish shape. Your arms can be wherever you choose to have them. And you may want to just take a moment to see what feels the most useful for you here. Maybe seeing what it's like if your palms are facing downwards. How does that feel around your shoulders and your neck? How does it feel if your palms are facing towards each other and towards the body? And the last option you might like to try is palms facing upwards. So there's a lot of different ways that we can hold our arms next to us, resting on the ground. And it's about finding the one that's the most useful to you right now. No right or wrong. And perhaps even experimenting with how far apart from your body you'd like your arms to rest. Your legs either reaching out long, resting on the ground, or in constructive rest with the feet on the floor and the knees towards the ceiling. And whatever shape that you've chosen to be in right now, perhaps just giving yourself that moment to arrive here. For some of you, it's been a big day of yoga, practicing and teaching or coordinating. For others, joining in at the last session, so perhaps just taking a moment and gathering all your attention from all the things that you've been doing. Maybe there's a bit of your attention going on to what you're going to do next. You might like to imagine that you are like a magnet and you're drawing everything back in so that you can be completely present to yourself right now. Maybe sensing into all the supports there that are underneath you. Perhaps sensing into where the really heavy parts of your body are connecting with those supports. Back of the skull. Back of the shoulders. Sacrum and pelvis. And the feet. And you could even imagine that all those supports that are there have little tiny little hands that are reaching up to support you, that those supports have consciousness. And they're actually reaching up to give you the support that you can choose to have or not choose to have at the moment. It's a choice. But if you choose to be supported right now, to let the surfaces support you, perhaps you might sense that as a gentle softening or a yielding into what's underneath you. Perhaps sensing into the body being breathed here. Just the body being breathed as you rest. With every exhalation, perhaps just allowing a little bit more softening, but only if that's useful to you right now. Perhaps sensing into those lungs that Paul was talking about in the last class, expanding and filling up, caressing that heart. And then with every out breath, perhaps just a little gentle softening into the surfaces and the supports that are there. And you could imagine that you're lying on wet sand as you take your attention to your feet. Is one side heavier than the other? If you were to leave an imprint on this wet sand, would one foot leave a deeper imprint than the other? And this is not about changing or fixing, it's just about noticing, observing as your body is resting on the ground. Your calf and shin, what kind of imprint would they leave on the sand underneath you? Would one side leave a deeper imprint than the other? Your thighs, if they're resting on the ground or resting on the bolster or a pillow. How is their weight resting? The buttocks, left and right. And feeling free now to sense into the back and the back of the rib cage resting on the ground underneath you. And as you're breathing in, can you sense the back of each rib cage perhaps gently touching or reaching towards the ground? And does one feel like it's closer to the ground or heavier than the other? The shoulder blades, upper arms, the imprint of the forearms and the hands. And the back of the skull, does it feel like the back of the skull is resting from the middle of the skull, or is it maybe gently turned one way or the other? And there's no need to change how you're lying. It's just welcoming yourself as you are, as you arrive. The weight of your body contacting the surfaces, providing that sense of presence. I am here. The movement of the breath, reminding us that we are this living, amazing body that is alive and breathing at every moment. There are a trillion things happening inside every second. And perhaps as you're sensing into this body, this unique expression of you, this form, and knowing that you're going to go into a Yoga Nidra soon, perhaps just checking in and asking your body what it would like to do. Is there an impulse for some movement here? And your movement could be really different from the person next to you. So perhaps just checking in. What is the movement that your body is calling for right now? It might be that you want to bring your feet onto the floor or mat and do some window washer movements from side to side. So that may look like feet quite generously further apart from your knees and hips. And gently rocking the knees from side to side, like the window washers on a car. That's one suggestion. Another option might be to bring your knees up and give them a gentle hug, and then perhaps just rocking from side to side onto your sacrum. That's a second suggestion. Or you might feel like you want to come to your hands and knees and to do some rounds of cat-cow, knowing that we're going to enter into a Yoga Nidra and be still. But just what is it that your body would like to do right now? And it might be that you're standing and doing bigger movements. And if you're unsure, that's really normal too. And perhaps just experimenting, being quite curious. If I do this, what does this feel like? The other option, of course, is to go straight into stillness and to set yourself up for your Yoga Nidra and be still. So it's just about some choices about what your body wants to do right now. Movement, stillness, maybe even some pandiculation, like kind of tensing your whole body up bit by bit until it's as tight as it can be, and then gently releasing and softening. Just leave you for a couple more minutes to do what it is that you would like to do before finding a comfortable seat. So we'll do a couple more minutes of whatever it is you would like to do, or you could start organizing yourself into your either a seat or a lying down shape, whatever shape you want to do. or want to be in for your Yoga Nidra. Ensuring that you've got lots of warmth. And I would always encourage a long neck, something under your neck, perhaps something under your knees. If you're in a lounge room, you could even have your legs up on right angles on the sofa. Perhaps dimming your lights or putting a covering over your eyes can be really nice. And for those of you who are still moving, because that is still the option, you may like to start winding that up and just settling yourself into your space for your Yoga Nidra. Could be your favorite restorative shape. You could be lying on your side. Your Nidra, your shape. And as you're settling in, just for those, I'm unsure if people have done Yoga Nidra before. So Yoga Nidra is just simply a guided meditation, the sleep of the yogi, going to that place between being awake and asleep, like the space where we are, where we can find ourselves when we wake up in the morning. We're not quite awake, but we're not quite asleep. And a particular type of Yoga Nidra that I teach is iRest, which is integrative restoration. And you can choose to follow along. You'll dip in and out because it's perfectly normal. And I'll see you all on the other side. So I'm going to record it here on an audio so that you can, I'll send it to Paul to send out as well if you want that. So the first thing that we do in Yoga Nidra is just to check that you're as comfortable as possible. So as you're lying or sitting or whatever shape you're in, is there anything that you could do to make yourself that little bit more comfortable? And because this is a retreat, a kindness retreat, maybe tucking yourself in as if you were tucking in a really good friend. We're often much kinder to other people than we are to ourselves. So really taking the time to set yourself up. How would you tuck a really good friend in? Gently, kindly, and with love. So really taking the time to set yourself up. Perhaps once again sensing into those supports that are there. All the supports that are underneath you. And feeling free here to open up the senses. The senses alive and welcoming. Maybe noticing anything or any of the sounds that are outside of the room that you're in. And welcoming each sound without needing to know what it is or put a label on it. Sound is pure vibration in your body. Perhaps welcoming the sounds inside the room, including the sound of your own body breathing and any other sounds your body might be making. Eyes open to seeing, even if they're closed. And your eyes can be open or closed here. Maybe a gentle swallow and tasting the aftertaste of anything that's left in your mouth from the last thing you ate or drank. Anything you can smell. The sensations and the textures of your clothes against your skin. The weight and warmth of any blanket. And the temperature of the air caressing your skin and the parts of your body that aren't covered. Perhaps sensing into this vital aliveness that is you. Every single cell alive. Perhaps sensing this as a pulsing, a shimmering, a vibration. The aliveness of you. You might like to take a moment to set an intention for your practice today. If you've never done iRest before, it might simply to be curious. I am curious. It might be to stay awake and alert, or it might simply be to enjoy the delight of just resting. What is it? How would you like to feel at the end of the practice? And maybe this is reflective of your life's deeper intention. At iRest, we call that a heartfelt desire, our heartfelt prayer, our deepest, deepest longing for this life that we are living. It could be about something we want to do in this lifetime, or how we want to be. Possibly reflective of your values, or just the things in your life that you're saying yes to. We say yes to something and we know that it feels right in our body because it's a felt sense, a heartfelt desire. A felt sense of knowing that this is how life is meant to unfold for me. A deep wisdom, a knowing, a flow. So what would you like to say yes to more in your life? And a really good question is, what would you say yes to if you knew you could not fail? Sometimes we just have a word or a felt sense in the body, a glimpse of something. We may just delight in sitting with the inquiry and wondering what it might be, because it is already within us. We have everything we need to manifest it. It will show itself in time. Perhaps now just delighting in this moment of comfort and rest. Maybe a sense of ease, well-being. Maybe even safety or security. Haven or our inner sanctuary. Like an anchor that we can tap back into whenever we need to. No matter how the world is unfolding around us, we have this place inside. And perhaps using a time when you felt at ease, or at peace, safe. Using a memory, image of a pet or a loved one, a deity, a god, to invoke these feelings within you. It's a felt sense of this ease. Just notice where it lands. And letting this all fade into the background. Perhaps letting my voice become your voice as we take a journey throughout this alive body of yours, sensing into each place, feeling into the body. Perhaps starting with the left foot, the left ankle, feeling into the left calf and shin. Knee, thigh, top and bottom. And buttock. The right foot, ankle. And see if you can really sense into this body part, the aliveness of each part, rather than imagining it and visualizing it. Sensing into the aliveness of that right calf and shin. Knee, thigh, top and bottom. Right hip and right buttock. Both legs together, both hips, both knees, both feet. Relaxed, heavy, and at ease. Upper chest, heart and lungs, mid-chest, and the lower belly and abdomen with all the organs wet, heavy, nestled in against each other, quiet and safe. Upper back, mid-back, and the lower back, sacrum and pelvis. The whole of the front of the torso, the whole of the back, and all of the contents in between. Relaxed, heavy, and at ease. Left collarbone streaming down to left shoulder. Left upper arm. Elbow. Forearm. Left wrist. Back of the hand. And the palm of the left hand. Right collarbone streaming down to right shoulder. Upper arm. Elbow. Forearm. Wrist. Back of the right hand and the palm of the right hand. Both shoulders, both elbows, both arms relaxed, heavy, and at ease. Back of the neck and the throat, inside and out. Back of the skull, the forehead, the brain nestled back in its warm, nurturing cerebrospinal fluid. Wet, heavy, quiet, and safe. Perhaps sensing here into the open spaciousness of the inner ear canal, the left and the right, the outer architecture of the left ear with all its wiggles and valleys, and the right, the eye, the left eye, the space in front of the left eye, the space behind it, and the space to the sides of the left eye. Left eye itself gently roll back, resting. The right eye, the space in front of the right eye, behind the right eye, to the sides, both left and right. The eyeball itself gently roll back, nothing to see. You might like to sense into the breath moving in and out of the nostrils here. Left nostril and right. And then into the mouth, all of the sensations of the mouth, the lips, teeth, roof of the mouth, floor of the mouth, walls of the mouth, and the tongue, the space in the mouth. All of the sensations in the mouth, nose, eyes and ears, brain, whole of the head area, relaxed, heavy, and at ease. Sensing into the whole global body. The whole of the front of the body. And all the space in front of the body. How far can you sense in front of the body? Where do you start and where do you end? The space, the back of the body, and the space underneath you. Left side of the body and the space to the left. And the right side of the body and the space to the right, as far as your consciousness will allow you to reach and sense. The inside of the body, the content, the cells, the muscles, the fluids, the organs, the bones, all of the alive contents of the body. And the skin, the container of this body, this form. And perhaps sensing into the space where the skin meets that space outside the body on all sides. The form, the body, meeting formlessness. The you that's inside your body, meeting the you that's outside of your body. And perhaps just sensing your body being breathed here. The movement of the body on the in-breath. And the movement of the body on the out-breath. And perhaps catching that very first moment of the in-breath and traveling its length to the very last moment of the in-breath. And then catching the beginning of the out-breath and following its length until it ends, and then catching the beginning of the in-breath again. Following the journey of the in-breath and then the out-breath. Noticing when one ends and one begins. And you may notice at the end of the in-breath, there's a pause before the out-breath begins. And the very end of the out breath is a pause before the in breath begins. Feeling free to give this pause equal attention. In breath, pause. Out breath, pause. Awake, alert, just following the 4 cycles of the breath. And feeling free to let this breath practice go and simply being breathed. You may notice the sensations in the body and the movement of the breath rise and unfold from this stillness, this underlying presence that is you, that never changes. Always still, at ease, despite what is going on around you. And feeling free now to take your attention to maybe a place where you feel really warm in your body right now. Just really get the felt sense of warmth or heat in that part of your body, the texture of warmth. What is the felt sense of being warm? And as you're ready, moving to its opposite, this place of cool, place in your body that feels cool or cold. What are the textures and the qualities of coolness? In your time returning to this place of warmth, welcoming that back in. And then this place of coolness. One last time, perhaps welcoming warmth into your attention at the same time as welcoming coolness. As you welcome both into your awareness at the same time, noticing the impact, if any, on your body, mind as you do so. If it's useful to you, perhaps weaving in your inner resource or your safe haven, your inner sanctuary. Perhaps noticing how the sensations of warmth and coolness also rise and unfold from this underlying presence that is you. It never changes. You might like to notice any emotions that are just sitting with you as you go through the practice, and just noticing without getting caught up in them. Just acknowledging them kindly. I see you. Maybe welcoming any thoughts or images or memories that are arising. And again, just acknowledging, I see you, I hear you. And then perhaps bringing your attention to your heart or your heart center. This vibrant, alive, throbbing heart, and constantly caressed by the lungs. And perhaps from this heart, this place we associate with love and kindness, maybe just allowing any feelings of happiness or joy just to bubble up from there gently. And you might find it useful to use a memory of a time you felt happy or joyful or content or okay. Time or people or pets, which can help you bring this as a felt sense into your body. Where does it land? When you're feeling this contentment, what parts of your body light up in response? And perhaps imagining that you're breathing in this contentment or joy as a color. You're breathing it in as you breathe out, you're sending this color throughout your body. Every out breath, the color extends further and further towards the edges of your fingers and toes. And this color is filled with contentment and joy. Until every single cell is alive and filled with joy, your birthright. And letting this fade into the background. You may notice how the sensations and feelings of joy also arise and unfold from this underlying presence that you are, the stillness. And perhaps we call this the grounded felt sense of being. The underlying presence of you that is left when we stop all the doing and we rest back in just being. Maybe a sense of what it's like when we have nowhere to go. And right now, you have nowhere to go. You are there. Or the sense you get when there is nothing to do. And right now, there is nothing to do. You're doing it. You are being. You are resting. Maybe the sense when there is nothing to understand or learn, or nothing to change or fix about ourselves. And we rest in our grounded felt sense of being. There is nothing to change or fix. We are whole. Perhaps just a sense of being open, spacious, timeless, perfect, whole, and complete. Just being, just as you are. And knowing this place of being, this grounded felt sense of being is always within us. And we get caught up in everything that is moving, all the senses, the body sensations, the breath, our emotions, our thoughts. As the world goes a little bit crazy around us, the pandemic, racism, murders. We can get caught up in that and forget that we have this underlying presence of stillness that is always there. Like coming home. And we forget, and we get caught up, and then we remember and we come home. And that is part of being human. We forget and we remember. And from this place of being, perhaps bring your attention back to your body in whatever shape it's in, back to your form, merging formless and form. Perhaps sensing the places where your body is making contact with the ground underneath it. And perhaps your first movement here is just simply a blink of the eye. Maybe a swallow. And then possibly a gentle deepening of the breath. Maybe a little gentle roll of your head from side to side. but not in a rush to move. Delighting in the sense of being, even as we come back to this world where everything moves and captures our attention again. And maybe from these really tiny movements may come some larger movements, a wiggle of the fingers or the toes, a yawn and a stretch like you're waking up in the morning. And as you're ready, perhaps just rolling onto your side and pausing there. Keeping warm. Your eyes may stay closed down still. A gentle re-entry back to the world, a gentle, kind re-entry. And as you're ready, you may choose to come up to a comfortable seat. So we finish all together. Turn your lights on. It's a bit bright, Paul. You could turn your videos on if you wanted, or you could keep your eyes closed and your videos off. And as you come to your comfortable seat, perhaps just touching the edges of your body, like touching the edges of your skin, knowing where you begin and where you end, perhaps touching on your legs and your feet, just gentle, kind tapping. Maybe tapping around the sides of your ribs and the back of your ribs, if that's useful to you. Even around your arm, your hands, up one arm and down the other. Maybe even the back of your neck, your skull, forehead and cheeks. Bringing yourself back to this room that you're in, back to your body. And I'd like to say thank you for sharing this time with me. Thank you, Paul, for having me here. And may you all have a wonderful rest of your Sunday evening where we are. Not quite sure, some of you are in different time zones. So have a wonderful rest of your day, wherever it might be and whatever it is. Thank you. Namaste.
Beautiful.
That was so delicious.
What was that?
So delicious.
So delicious. Thank you. Oh.
So delicious.
Have we got everybody? I always like to do a Zoom check to make sure we've got everyone's back after a Yoga Nidra, because yeah, we do. Cool. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
No,
Thank you, Paul.
That's awesome. That was beautiful, really lovely, and skillfully done. And your words, your use of words, so kind. Thank you for your generosity joining us. Really nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
You can feel free to just go if you want to. You can hang around a little bit longer. I'm happy to hang around. Sandra probably hang around for a wee bit too.
I need to go. I had visitors arrive while I was doing Yoga Nidra.
It's a big leap back into the world.
Yeah, it is a bit of a shock. Thank you very much.
I need to go as well, but thank you very